Hello and welcome back to Gas Buteo Tabletop Football, where you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm putting the river in. Now the river, if you remember, is going to be made out of resin. If you've never used resin before, you may want to listen to these few tips. I've used it for a couple of things, and the first rule you should always remember about resin is not your friend. Repeat after me, resin is not your friend. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Now resin, when you pour it in, sounds very nice and convenient, but it's incredibly sticky. That's why I'm rubbing my hands at the moment, because I've been mixing it up in preparation. And when you put it in, it will act like water. Although it's got the consistency of golden syrup, it will find any hole it can and will escape off whatever it is you're working on and make a mess all over the place. So remember, resin is not your friend. The other thing you've got to remember about resin, which a lot of people don't sort of bear in mind, is that it needs warmth to activate. So it works like an epoxy. You have a sort of filler, the main body of the resin, and then you put in a hardener, which you have to mix in. I'm doing it here in this tub. And what you can do at that stage is, if you like, you can add colours. Now, you may not be able to tell, but I have added a few drops of blue resin dye. So it's a very, very pale sort of blue colour. Very, very pale. The idea is it looks like spring water. Now, we haven't got forever to do this because the resin will start going off, but generally, if you're working with resin, I'm going to show you the resin again. There it is, nice and pale blue. If you're working with resin, you've got about sort of 20 minutes, half hour to apply it to make sure it's properly mixed. Depending on what you're doing, you've got to think about how you're going to mix it and whatnot. I don't want to put it down on here because if you mix it too much, you'll get bubbles in there. Sometimes that's not the desired thing. Doesn't matter so much in here, so I've given it a good mix. I'm going to apply it into the river with this syringe sort of thing. I've used this before. As you can see, it's covered in resin. I always have to clean it off, and it just makes it a bit easier, although it is absolutely full. Bear with me, I've just got to... I know that's not great viewing, but I want to show you this. Whoa, it's dripping everywhere. Let's get a cloth. Always have cloths on hand. Right, so I've got my resin, a little bit of it loaded into this syringe. Let's move that out of the way. Don't want to be contaminating other areas. And I'm going to move you, the viewer, over here so you can see what's going on. There is the riverbed. Now, there is a lot to fill in up the top, so it may not reach you. What I'm going to do is start squeezing that in. Now, this is one of my concerns about this, is that there is apparently a lot of cavity space in this section up here. And I'm concerned that the resin is going to find a way out that isn't on the riverbed. So it may start to come flooding out of some cracks in the sides of the cliff or something like that. Just trying to fill this up. It's a bit of a push. That'll do. Whoop. Get me cloth again, wipe off the nib. Trip over a bit of wood. So we're here now. Now what I'm going to do is start putting it down with slightly shaky hands. So there's a bit of a dip there, a rocky dip, and then it goes into yet another cavity here. And after that, it should start flooding down. Ooh, that is flooding down. Look at that. And it is already looking like river water. I think it did a good job of putting the blue dye here. There's a big pool of it here, so I'll fill that up. and this was meant to be a secondary sort of inlet, this bit as well. So let's fill all that up. Now it's started coming down there. I don't know if you can see it yet on the camera, but it'll start. Ooh, take that off there, go and do another refill. It will start working its way down. Alright, bear with me, I'm just, I need to get a new syringe really, because I've used this one before. It is a bit clogged up with old use resin. Try and clean it off as much as you can, but if you ever work with resin, you'll know what I mean. It's a tricky substance to deal with. So we've got down here, oh, I dropped some there. And I'm going to spread it around so we get a nice even spread. Spread it around so you get a nice even spread until I'm thinking. Careful where it drops. So it is a big, oh, look at that bit come out then. Big old pool there. Now, the problem people get with resin, because it moves slowly when you're applying it, you get into this sort of area of complacency. You think, oh yeah, it's fine. I got ages with this. This is going to go off and it'll be fine. It won't be fine. Resin is not your friend. What it will do is just hang around being sneaky, and then it will find a way out when you're not looking, because you now got to leave this for a good 24, 48 hours. Now I've got a little bit left, but I might pour this at the top. Now the bit I've got left is actually going behind the camera on the bottom part of the river, so I'll just pour that in there. And we're doing this in stages, so this is going to be one layer. It's looking quite good though. Quite happy with that. Let's refill it up here. Yeah, so what I'll do is put another, let this bit go off, and then put another layer of the resin on at a later date. Now, not sure if I mentioned this at the start, but one of the reasons I decided I was going to do this today is because resin, oh, I did mention it at the start, resin needs warmth to react, for the hardness to go off. So if you try and do resin on a winter's day in England or Wales, Scotland, wherever, you will find it may not go off very well, and you will be left with a syrupy mess all over the place. That's why it's very important to do it on a warm day. Today is uncommonly warm for England in March. I think it was about 22 degrees, which was very pleasant. Right, let's move the camera again because the resin is starting to move down. Now I'm going to, with sticky hands, going to show you where we are. So there is a bit there. Let's see if I can get the light on it. This bit here, you'll be looking at this thinking, ah, Jem, that's not moving down. That will move down. It will creep its way down over the hours all the way to the bottom. And the good thing about resin is that sort of glowy, reflective look, that will stay that. So even when it dries, it will still reflect the light. Let's just focus in on that. So as you can see, it's coming down there. You can see the colours out of them rocks that I put in. Now, like I say, this is going to be the first level of the water. I'm going to put another clear level on top of that. This one is slightly blue. It's a bit difficult to tell that, but it is slightly blue. So there'll be another top layer on when this has come down. Look at that little bit there. You think it's not going to get anywhere, but it is slowly creeping down. And it will join up with this bit here. Look at the light shine there, sunlight shining in it. So that's what we're doing now. I was going to put some new trees in. Remember I talked about them in the last episode of this series. I have ordered some new trees, not too many, but I've ordered them off a Chinese eBay seller, and they're not coming till May. So The bonus of that is they were incredibly cheap. They were almost like a quarter of the price of ones you could get in this country. But they take ages to get here. So anyway, that's what we're doing now. I will let that go off. And then when we do the next part of the water, I think we'll do... I was only going to do 10 episodes, but we'll have to do 11 episodes, I think. Anyway, until next time, up the gas.